Hey there, Newsome Nestlings, and welcome back to today's edition of What's Going On in the Newsome Nest Project? Lead the way, and what project are we doing today? So today we are jumping into number 1-3, which is the culminating project, so they call it, of our Man vs. Tech friend or foe project that we've been researching for about a week now, a little bit off and on, but if you add it up, it's about 5 days or so. So now, this is our very first presentation element. So this is the first time that we've actually laid the foundation, we've done the research, and now we are putting it out there to the world. So there are a lot of things that we have to remember here, okay? First of all, we don't need to be illegal, okay? So warning. For this project, we have to make sure that we give everyone credit that we got information from. And we also have to make sure that we do not use their own works. So we absolutely, under no circumstances, can do any kind of plagiarism, okay? So that's the first thing. Second thing is that we're creating stuff for YouTube. We're creating content, y'all. So I realize that this may just be a presentation that we're putting out there to the world, but I don't want my name on anything that is lame and black and white background and boring and doesn't have pictures and awesome stuff in it. Do you? I didn't think so. So when we start doing all of our creation here, I want you to really think outside the box. I want you to personalize this. I want you to make it your own. So I want you to really invest a lot of time, effort, energy for the next couple of days that we're working on this in class and you're working on it in Flex and at home, so that when we start pushing all that content out there on Monday, that it is going to be fantastic. We're also, drum roll, we're also going to be adding in a little bit of a competition element. So we're looking for the best stream that you create to be able to put out there. So you guys are going to, once you create this presentation in Google Slides, we're then going to screencast it. You can, or you don't have to include in your face and you actually screencasting behind it, but you also are going to be putting it out there on the YouTube, and we're going to have a poll that people get to vote and see who they think the best video is. Ooh, exciting. Somebody gets to win. What do you win? Bragging rights. And maybe I'll throw in a Butterfinger or a Snickers bar for you as well. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in to what this is supposed to look like, y'all. Let's get messy.
Through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and sleep till I come home. Dream of something sweet. I won't be there soon to wake you so discreet. traveling the mountains just to find the loudest tears. We set down by the fire, knowing we could aim higher, but we didn't know that yet. So if you want something to hold on to, gotta find it first. But here I am, 'cause I've been laying under palm trees, waiting for the summer, knowing there's nowhere to go. 'Cause I am happy on this island, wanna be my farmland. I don't ever want to leave, I'm in a tropic club. I remember the ocean, memories die out too hard. But we were traveling the mountains just to find the loudest tears. We sat down by the fire, knowing we could aim higher, but we didn't know that yet. So if you want something to hold on to, gotta find it first. But here I am, 'cause I've been laying under palm trees, waiting for the summer, knowing there's nowhere to go. 'Cause I am happy on this island, wanna be my farmland. I don't ever want to leave, I'm in a tropic club.
dokie, nestlings. Let's take this to the next step with making this look fancy. So with our presentation, since we actually have a presentation element with this, meaning that you guys are going to present this digitally using Screencastify, I want to make sure that everybody knows how to make our slideshow that we just did into something that isn't black and white and boring. So now let's go through and talk about some things that you can do to make this look better. All right, so every one of these slides cannot be the same. They cannot be just black and white and boring with just a plain colored background. Everything needs to be 100% personalized to you. All right, so if you have already gotten all your information and your sources added here, you no longer need this handout. So you can close out of that. And if you have taken a look-see at all of this stuff, then you also will no longer need this website. But I'm going to tell you to have it up right now because it's going to be helpful for you when we start researching backgrounds. Okay, so your first slide needs to be really professional looking. It needs to have something that is in the background that is indicative or representative of what we're about to talk about. And since your project is named Man vs. Tech, and you may even want to shorten that just to make it a little bit more professional, and so we know that we are dealing with kiddos that know how to be all professional. You may want to take those out. You may just want to have the computer and not everything else. I'm personally going to go ahead and just take it out. But Newsom TV had a very good idea that he thought it would be good to have the man emoji there and then the computer emoji there. So I think that's nifty if you like that. Alright, so with mine, I'm going to go and try to find a background. Alright, so really quickly, I'm going to full screen this so you can see where this lives. Alright, up here are all of your options. If you remember back to our Google Slides training, that is what we are talking about with everything that we can fix and change and rearrange. And I'm going to be looking at the background. So I'm going to go in a Google search right up here, and I want to find a digital tech, some kind of background that is a high resolution image or high res image. All right, so high res image technology. And then I'm going to go over to Google Images. And then I'm just going to be looking for one. I'm going to big screen this real quick so you can see it with me. I'm just going to go through and find one that I really like that is nice and colorful and also doesn't have any kind of copyright info on it. Because if you see any watermarks on it or anything else that indicates that it got copyrights on it, you cannot use it. Alright, let's see what this one looks like when we click on it. See if it's going to have high enough pixels. Alright, maybe, possibly, it has potential. So now we want to take and right click on this image so we can get it as big as possible. And open image in a new tab. Alright, I'm not sure if that one's going to be big enough or not, but we'll see. So I'm going to save that image, save image as. And I'll just give it a lot of ones. Alright, so now I'm going to go back over here to my presentation. And I want to see about changing this background. Choose image. Then I'm going to go here to upload it. And there it is. That is the one that I just downloaded because I gave it a lot of ones. Alright, so now I take a look-see. Okay, yeah, I really like this. This looks pretty good. You may need to move some stuff around to where you like it a little bit better. For sure, I can see that that man versus tech just is not going to work with that color. So I'm going to drag over top of those letters with my mouse, and then I'm going to go up here. If I want to change the font, I absolutely can. All right, I'm going to change it to that one. And be very wary of using fonts that are super girly or very weird looking, because remember, this is a professional thing that we're trying to do. Our presentation isn't supposed to be cutesy wootsy and look like it came from a second grader. So here, gotta change it away from being that color. So let's find a different text color that will work. I'm just going to use that for right now, just a basic white one. If I want to make it fancier, I can. All right, then I would take and change the size of it until I feel super duper comfortable with it. All right, and then your name. I'm also going to take and scoot this one over so that it is right here alongside the man versus tech. And then I'm actually going to add my name now. And as you see, that color font also is not going to work for what I'm doing now. So I may want to try out some other things and see if there's something else that I like. For the sake of time right now, I'm just going to do that. And now a signature, I think that one would be okay for you to do in, you know, a signature-like font. This one is pretty signature-like, although it's really chunky. So now what you're looking at is a very basic way, I would say, to make this first slide look a little bit fancier, because remember, we are trying to be professional and we're creating content for YouTube, and we are going to have this public on YouTube, so we don't want to have boring stuff. So all we did, just to recap on this first slide, was that we found a background that worked, and then we went in here and we changed some stuff up here and there just to make it look better and for it to seem like it fits. Now, if you do want to start personalizing each one of these, if you have a Bitmoji and you have that added as an app extension, you're more than welcome to do that. But since this is a professional presentation, I would probably, if you're going to use them, don't use them on every slide, and try to find a way to make them look like they fit and that they are more appropriate. Okay, so now let's take a look at the second one, and that is your personal interaction with tech. So we're going to need a background for that one as well, for the sake of kind of keeping it a little bit more congruent and looking the same. I'm going to try to find images here that look similar, meaning as far as color goes. So I'm going to try to find something that is kind of sort of the same. And remember, we're still looking for high resolution images that are going to have some kind of technology base with them, and that they don't have, you see that has a watermark on it, that it doesn't have a watermark on it, and you also don't want it to have one of these things down at the bottom that it says it's a stock image. That is there because somebody doesn't want you to steal their stuff. All right, let's take a look-see at this one. All right, I don't see any weirdness on that, so I'm going to right-click and say Open Image in a new tab. You can close out of the one that I did for the first slide. All right, let's take a look at that one. Ooh, yeah, that one I think will work really well. So let's right-click and save image as. Since the previous one was 1, let's give that a whole bunch of 2s. Then I'm going to go over here. And I'm clicked into the second slide, and I'm going to go to background. And now I'm going to go and find that image right here. And then it was number 2. And there we go. And I think it looks like it fits with that first one. So I am really proud of the way that looks. But as you can see here, this doesn't look good at all. So let's see what it would look like if I change the font color to white. If that is still to where it doesn't look good, I'm going to show you something else that you can do. Yeah, I'm still not loving the way that that looks because this image is so, let's just call it vibrant. And it has a lot going on. It's very busy. So what we could do is we could layer something behind this that then would make the words pop. So a very Bobo way of doing this is to go and find a shape. If I wanted to have a little rounded rectangle, I can just drag and draw it over top of this little area of font, right like that. And it's going to create it, and I'm going to just give it a black background. You see it now has that grayish tone. So where I find that, where that lives is catty corner right here. It's where you see that paint can. Click that, and I want it to be black. Yes, that looks 10 trillion times better. But now we have to get that font back on top of it. So go here and right click, and you see on this menu where it says that you can order it. That means what order it's going to follow in. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to send it backward. It may take a couple of times of doing that for your font to show up. And since we have this one that has a background on it, I can just say send to the back. Alright, so now I have that there, and I'm just going to play around with it until I like the way it fits. Looks good, it's centered, all of that jazz. And with these, you'll be able to use your arrow keys if I want it to move over to the right, or left, or up, or down. Alright, if I wanted to take and change that font because I did not like it, I would make sure everything in there is highlighted, and then I'm going to go up here to the font. And once again, keep in mind, all of this needs to look very professional and not have goofy fonts like that or like that, and heaven forbid no Comic Sans. So impact would be fine, and pretty much everything else that you see that's not the Lobster or the Playfair. Alright, Roboto Mono I really like because it looks like a very old computer. So I'm going to go with that one. And as you see here, I now either have to make my box bigger or my font smaller. So I'm going to go and make my box bigger. Move that out of the way for a second. And I'm just going to drag that box on out here. And then get my font. And my title of that page. And boom shakalaka, there it is. I can also take and scoot it up just a teeny tiny bit more. There we go. Alright, so now we need the same kind of box stuff going on for this one. So if I wanted to use the same shape, I could. If you want to use something else, you can do that as well. So for this one, if you wanted it to be in circles, you could add it into circles. So I just went to the shape. I found a circle, and now I'm going to draw it. And then now you have the exact same option here, that it has this grayish color. I'm going to go and make it a black color. And then you see the outline of it is also gray. So I'm going to change that background to, let's do one of those greenish type colors. And I want it to have a heavier line around it like that. All right, so to just back up, all I did to make this circle was that I went here to find the circle. Once I had that, I made it a black color background circle, and then I went here to change the color around that circle, and I went there to make it thicker. All right, since I know I want this to be the same on the right and the left, I'm gonna go here and make another one of these. So I am going to clone it, which your hot button key for that is Control D. And then I'm gonna move that guy over to the other side. Boopity boopity boop. Move it on over there. And then I'll probably play around with this until I like where it's sitting. All right, so now our type, our font or whatever, we need to make that go in the front. So you go order, bring to the front. And then we're just gonna redo these little boxes until we get it to where we like it. And then for this, you're more than likely going to have to give your font like a way smaller size, because that right there would not work at all for you to write 2 sentences. So I would probably say for you to take it back to about size 10 font. And let's make sure it's left justified if you are typing it in sentence format. All right, so now I'm actually going to go back and add what my opinion is. I really love using technology in the classroom because it provides, let me fix that real quick, because it provides me with the opportunity to teach at a high level, which means smart, while being safe at home and not missing out on great opportunities. And let's fix that. Notice it showed me that I misspelled something, which is really great. Missing out on great opportunities with my classes. All right, that was just one sentence. So I'm going to add another one. And I'm even going to go and make mine a different category, because I'm going to create another kind of topic that I'm not just going to be talking about school. I love that I can use technology at home to watch old cartoons that my husband and I grew up watching, because it makes me happy, and I love being able to share those amazing memories with my family. All right, so now I've got all of my stuff that I want for my positives that are my opinion. So even if you want to kind of pattern yours after mine, I would say for you to make sure that you are using something that is personal to you. All right, and I'll probably play with that font and see if I can get it to get any bigger and look any better. and now over here, since I've already customized this, I'm going to go over here and just delete that box, and I'm going to make a clone of this one. So right here, I'm going to right click, and then I would clone. Or you've also got your option here that you just make sure you're clicking on that box and you see that blue square around it, and hit Control D. And then I'm going to scoot all of that over here. So now I'm going to say something opposite of this side, since I talked about education in the first one. I'm going to talk about education right here. Alright, I really dislike when the internet goes down at the school. And it makes it to where we cannot use our technology. Because without it, we cannot code, since coding cannot be done using paper. You can plan for your coding using paper, but you can't actually code anything with just paper unless you have an Ozbot and you just got the little stickers that are technically made of paper. Alright, so I've got my first one over here, mirrored right here about what I love and then don't love. Alright, well, this one that I put about technology at home, let's go back and find a sad thing about that. Let's say when the electricity goes out, then that's a big fat bummer. Alright, I really dislike when the power goes out, because so much in our house relies on electricity and internet to function. Alright, so I click back off of that, and then I take a look and see if I like what I've got going on there. I may decide that I want to overlap these just a little bit, where it looks kind of sort of like a Venn diagram. Then I would take and move these over just a tiny bit, and move these over just a tiny bit. Now this would be one that, since this is you and your opinion, I think it would be 1,000,000,000% okay for you to add in a personal element, such as you having in your Bitmoji, or if you've got a screenshot of you that's appropriate that you could add in right here. I think that would be really cool. So I'm going to add my little Bitmoji on here in a little area right here. I'm going to make it into a lot smaller of one of those circles. So I just cloned that, and then I'm going to make that really, really tiny right here. Alright, so with Bitmoji, if you've got that on your phone or your tablet, you can install it as your Chrome app extension right here. And then I'm going to be looking for, I don't know, just something that's just me, with me smiling, nothing wild and crazy, just something that is, I don't know, characteristic about me that doesn't have a lot of crazy stuff added in it. Yep, just a smile, something like that. I think that is fantastic. Right there. And I'll add it in. And with these, they always generate really, really gigantic, so then I'm going to have to make it smaller. and then move it all around to where I need it to go. This I want to make just a tiny bit bigger, like that. And then I'm gonna go and put my face right here and just kind of move it around until I like where it is. All right, these I think I may want to move up just a little bit. And then my text, I'm not really loving how scrunched up it looks. So we may want to go and find other options for our font. If you guys like that and that doesn't weird you out with whatever font you're using, that is a-okay. But I'm gonna go and change the font just a teeny tiny bit, see if I like it better. And I do like it better with it being a little bit different of a font. So I'm gonna go here and change that one to the exact same Roboto, and then I had to take it down to an 8, I believe. All right, well, now that I've looked here, I think that that looks absolutely terrible because it is way, way, way too tiny. So I'm just gonna sit here and play around with it until I find something that makes me a little bit more happy about it, because that I don't really love. Alright, so once you get happy with where it is, you like how big the font is and all of that, then you are done with this slide. I know that that was about 9,000 years long of me going over just that one slide, but basically everything else that you're doing on the rest of the slides is the exact same thing. All right, so go ahead and get that second slide finished up, and then we'll move on to the next ones. Okie dokie, nestlings. Now we can move to our positive impacts and negative impacts. All right, so now for these, I really would love for you guys to add in a video. If you don't want to video you or yourself in a video where you're talking about the positives or you're talking about the negatives, then what we can do is within this Man vs. Tech presentation, you can actually search for videos. All right, now the kicker there is from your school account when you were at school, you can't be on YouTube. So when you get to this point, if you are at the school and you are unable to access YouTube, I want you, since you already now have shared this with me, I want you to send me an email, or if we're in a Google Meet, tell me in the chat that you would like for me to help you insert a video. All right, so let's say I've already gone and found my background. I'm just, for the sake of time, just going to use that first one that I used. That's all the ones. All right, cool. So obviously I have to change some stuff around here. But for right now, I'm just going to show you what it would look like to put in a video. Then you guys can go back and tinker with this stuff later. So now I'm going to go up here to insert, and 1, 2, 3, 4 down, it says video. I'm gonna click on that one, and if you have a video because you're a brave little toaster and you want to include your own, then you could insert it there from your Google Drive or from your hard drive. And then if not, and we're wanting to search in YouTube, I'm going to be looking for positive impacts of technology. All right, if I wanted to use this one, then I would just double click on it. Any of these that I want to choose, you just click on and go ye therefore. All right, let's say I wanted this one. I would click on it and then hit select or double click. And then it's going to add my video right over here. And then I'll just take and move it around until I like where it's at. Obviously, I do not like anything about this background just because it looks really, really messy right now. So obviously, I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to have to fiddle around with all of this stuff. I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing that right now this second, just for time's sake. But just so that you get the idea, you want to make sure that everything is visible, it looks professional, it is legible, which is why we have to go back and fix this one. Alright, I think that one's looking pretty good with that Bebas size 62 font, so I'll need to remember that on the next slide. And then right here, I'm not happy with this at all. If I go and I change it to a different color, it may work. It may be something that I need to add a background to. Yeah, I'm still not super happy about that, so let's see what would happen if we reverse this and move our words over here. Oh yeah, I think that will work a lot better, and then we'll have our video over here. Alright, yeah, cool. I think that is great. Then I may want to fiddle around with this and make it look better, different font, so on and so forth. I'm honestly, for this project, a really big fan of this one because it's talking about technology and that looks like a 1980s computer to me. But I'm going to allow you to use whatever you love as long as it is not goofy, very childlike looking, or Comic Sans. I may want to make all of this a little bit bigger. And then this would be something that you would want your next slide to look very similar to, although not exactly word for word, just like. That's not going to work as far as the size, so I'm just going to kind of fiddle around until I see what works. And, you know, I mean, that's pretty okay. I'm not mad with what that looks like. So now I'm remembering that I changed that one, this font, to the Bebas size 62, and I changed this one to EB Garamond size 20. So when I go here, I'm going to do that exact same thing. I made that size 62, and I made it the Bebas, which means I'll have to drag it just a little bit to make it fit. And then this, I changed to a different font as well. That's another one of my favorites, and I made it size 20. Alright, so now we need a background for this one. I'm just going to toggle back to using the second one so that they're going back and forth. They're not the same, but see how professional they look? They look like I actually know what I'm doing and that I am a grown-up person. Alright, number 2 was the one that I used on the second slide. Let's see what that looks like when we put it here. Wowee, that ends up looking kind of crazy pants McGee. So we will have to take a look-see at what we can do with this. Make it look better. For the sake of time, I'm just going to do the bare bones basics to show you. Alright, with that, that looks like I need to move it up a little bit. So I'm going to make sure that I am clicked on it right here, and I'm going to scoot. And if I want to flip-flop it and have the info on this side, I think that would be really awesome. May want to take and change the size of the box a little bit so you have more space to put all your info. That is another one that we have to make sure we change the color of. I mean, yeah, that's not very easy to read. So this may not be a background that would be really good for this one. You can also go in and add a drop shadow right here that would help your font to look a little bit better.
that you would be able to see it a little bit better. That's too dark, or too light. I need something darker. Yeah, I mean, that would help a little bit, but I still don't think that this is a good background for a slide that has so much info. All right, now just to repeat what we did for finding the video on the previous one, all I did was go here to insert, and I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4 to video. And now I want to find a negative impact of tech video, and always take and screen these and make sure they're not something that's school inappropriate, or make sure they're not just silly. Okay, that one is 8 minutes long. I don't want to have anything to do with an 8-minute long video. So this one, yeah, sure, I like that. 4 minutes. Double click on it. And then it's right there. Then I can take and resize it, move it around, whatever I want to do. One other kind of fancy pants McGee thing that I can do with this is if I wanted to make a frame around this, I could do just like I did with the text on this second slide, that I could go in and add a shape and draw it over top of where that video is. And then I would change the color of that shape, and then I would make it go behind like that. Then my video has, you know, like a little picture frame around it, which I think looks really good. Obviously, that's not something that is absolutely vitally necessary, but I think it looks really good, especially since we're trying to look very grown up and very professional. So I think that would be a very great way to get there. So now we have designed our first slide and it's looking really good. Our second slide, we may just want to go back and look at just a little bit. And then our third slide and our fourth slide, for the most part, I'm pretty okay with what they look like. And then for your sources, you're going to do this same thing. So if I wanted to, for the sources, add in a Bitmoji. There's one that your little Bitmoji has a magnifying glass. I think that would work. Like that right there. I think that would be perfect. Because your sources, that's just going to be a place where you're just giving your info. And I think it would be completely appropriate to have that one on there. No big deal whatsoever. Even if you wanted to have one on that side and then one on the other side, that would be fine. Alright, so all you're going to do with this last slide is you're going to customize just like you have on the previous ones. And then, once you are completely done, and you think, emphasis on think, that you are done with your slideshow, I want you to once again send me an email, Mrs. Newsom, at cernewsom@dothan.k12.al.us, and let me know that you want me to look at your presentation again. Because we cannot move to 14, which is a screen recording, until we get this much done. Alright, if you guys have any questions whatsoever, I will be right by my computer to be able to troubleshoot and answer questions. And if I'm not, I will absolutely have my phone right beside me so that you can ask any kind of questions that you may have as well. Alright, kiddaroos, go ahead and go ye therefore, and super duper good luck on making this look fancy. Catch you on the flip side, y'all. Peace out.